What's up, guys? I Kill You here. We're back on a creative world today, and I've got a little bit of a showcase, maybe tutorial video. It's more of a showcase. But I've virtual hard gathering all these skeleton drops over here. All of them are non-stackable items, as you can see. And we're going to take this junk and turn it into something useful. So over here, I've copied the NBT file off of those things there, and I've stacked them up here. And the first thing you're going to do is, as you can see in these chests, there are no leather items. Oh, I missed a few, my bad. But what you want to do is you want to come over here and in your silo system on your skeleton drops is you want to lock them up so nothing happens with them until you're ready. And when they're full, you want to go through all of your chests and just kind of go across and scan over everything, and if you find any leather items, just hit Q, let them fall to the ground, let them despawn. Or, you know, maybe you want to keep them, it doesn't matter, you might want to use them. But what this system's going to do is take all this junk that we had in here, and it's going to turn it into some treasure here. So, and I've been running this thing for a while, so it's going to be either cooked fish or iron ingots or gold ingots. And basically the amount of iron and gold is going to depend on how many, you know, pieces of armor you get in your drops. Mostly you're going to get bows. That being said, we have to buffer the bows with an item. So it doesn't have to be fish. It can be anything you want it to be. It can be sand, can be cobblestone, it can, you know, whatever you want. Raw steak, it doesn't matter. Just throw all your junk you want smelted in here and let this thing go to work, because actually skeleton drop bows are probably the cheapest fuel source in the game, to be honest. They're free. You're going to go over there and kill some skeletons with looting 3. You're going to get a crap ton of them, and then most of the time we just either let them pile up or throw away. But why do that when we can get these? And so I keep looking in there, hoping that one of these will finally come through. And maybe they will here in a minute. But it's basically dependent upon what comes down here. If we fill this thing up with, go ahead and fill that thing up with some iron. The iron will cycle through. And we'll get a few things up here we can begin to smelt. After this, we should begin to smelt the iron and gold that we placed up there. And so it's a waiting game. You're going to get a whole lot more fish than you do iron and gold. But it's still some iron and gold that you didn't have, that you were going to throw away. And this machine will do it for you. So let's get into explaining how it works. So we have a etho hopper clock back here, and it's basically the machine that drives this thing. And we've got about 24 blocks in the hoppers. Well, when it comes over here, we're going to get a pulse here through this monostable like you just seen. That's going to both flash this side here, and it's going to flash that towards there. So 4 tick repeater, 2 tick repeaters going each direction. This one is the main driving thing here, is it locks this hopper. Doesn't allow anything to fall through until it flashes. Well, when it flashes, the items come down in here and they will queue up. And the interesting thing about a furnace is that the only thing that'll come into this slot is something that is a legitimate fuel source, and nothing else will enter in here, period. Doesn't matter how hard you try. Well, so that being said, our armor will not go in there. It'll want to fall down, which all items want to go down before they go across anyway. So we lock this hopper here with this circuit. Basically what we say to the circuit is that we only want you to unlock if the hopper is completely full, and we do that by placing this setup here in this dropper. Basically 8 non-stackable items and a half a stack of stackable items from a comparator, block comparator. And basically that'll tell this comparator that you're only going to put out a signal of 1 when you actually have a power signal of 15, dropping the signal down to this torch, which will unlock this here. So that being said, when we get 5 items in here, the armor falls out down to these here. One will queue here while this is locked. Well, the next cycle when it unlocks, it'll come to these hoppers around here, into this item elevator, up, back around, and fall into this dropper. At which case it can be queued up to burn next. You know, but that's all dependent on how many iron and gold pieces of armor are actually in your silo. So, but that being said, there's not going to be enough of those to keep the bows burned, so we add this, right? Well, what we don't want from this is for these to just run wild and be the only thing that smelts. So as you can see, there's only 2 in here. Most of the time there's only been 1. So we lock this hopper. As you can see, there's 1 fish locked in here. And occasionally this will unlock, and I'm going to give you conditions of how they do, just like they did. And it allows 1 more fish to fall through. Well, sometimes we'll get 5 or 6 bows before a piece of armor comes in, and all this stuff will eventually catch up. So how does this lock, and what does it? Remember this torch that we came off that monostable from a minute ago? Well, it stays on the majority of the time, and it only will pulse at the end of each cycle the same way we unlock this set of hoppers over here. Well, its output is ran into what we call an Nand Gate. So if this is off and this is off, then this is unlocked. And this only pulses once every cycle, meaning that we only want 1 fish to come in at a time every chance there is an opportunity for a bow to come in. That being said, it only allows a certain amount of items through, and we can always keep caught up with the fish. You would have to run a long time with no armor in here before we'd ever overrun ourselves with fish. And this takes the signal off, and basically we've got it set if there's no items in there, then it'll be off, but if there's 1, then it will be, and we do that by placing the repeater in here, giving it a full strength all the way around. So guys, that's pretty much the system. There's not really much else to explain. Also, we've got it here, if we get too many items queued up to smelt, then they'll come back around, which kind of seems unnecessary at this point now that I've done a lot of other testing. So things to remember are to queue out your leather before you start. And guys, if you want a tutorial on this, I can do a block by block if you want. It doesn't seem necessary. You just gotta kind of pause the video and look at some of the components here as I scan over them. This is a 4-tick repeater. These 2 are also 2-tick repeaters, and everything else. Oh, this one's on 4 ticks as well. Everything else is pretty standard. So if you want a block by block tutorial, spam the comments and ask me, and I'll do it. Other than that, it's been great having you with me today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we will definitely see you on the next video, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.